اقسم بالله اقسم بالله يوم حرب 67 دخل الاسرائيلي دخل على مرات عمي معاه طفل معاها طفل مرات عمي معاها طفل بترضعه زي ابن ابني. دخل العسكري الاسرائيلي رحمها واداها اكل وقال لها اطلعي امشي بره، مشاها ركبها عربيه مشاها بره. الاسرائيلي شفته بعيني يا بنتي.
I just got back from Israel about 3 days ago. What I saw, I really don't sleep well anymore. I saw things that I didn't think one human being could do to another. Hamas could give a damn about the Palestinians. They're not going to trade hostages for innocent Palestinians. They could care less about the Palestinians. They want to kill all the Jews. They're the modern day version of Nazis. They can only be dealt with by destroying them. Israel, take all the time you need and do whatever it takes to destroy Hamas. That's non-negotiable for me. To Iran, if you attack one more American, if one American gets injured or dies because of your puppets in Syria and Iraq, I'm going to be putting all the pressure I can on President Biden to attack Iran. If there's another front opening up against Israel, Iran, you will pay the price. Go to the source of the evil. The great Satan in the world is Iran. It's not Israel. It's not the United States.
Done hiding. We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be upon, of Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home. So I want you to repeat after me. I want to hear it in every single district. It should tremble. Brooklyn should hear it. The Bronx should hear it. Queens should hear it. Say it as if the Ummah depends on this, my brothers and sisters. La ilaha illallah. There is no God worthy of worship except Allah, the God of Jesus, the God of Moses, the God of Abraham, and the God of the last and final prophet Muhammad sallallahu.
There is a group named Jamaat al-Fuqra that has actually bought very large, in some cases 100-acre compounds.
We're going to show you a map on the screen which lists all of the compounds all across the country.
Jamaat al-Fuqra, also known as Muslims of America, is a radical jihadi cult with a history of carrying out terrorist attacks and extremist indoctrination. The group is known for having 22 of what they call Islamic villages around the United States, with Islamberg, their 70-acre compound in New York, actually being the site of guerrilla warfare training that the Clarion Project was able to get videotape of. And declassified documents show that the group has sent operatives to Pakistan over the years to get more advanced terrorist training. According to a declassified FBI report, this organization even has ties to Al-Qaeda. Despite these documented ties to Al-Qaeda and other Islamic extremist organizations, Fuqra is not listed as a foreign terrorist organization, and so they are able to operate right on American soil. Go to fuqrafiles.com, F-U-Q-R-A files.com, for more information and to find out what they've been up to in your state.
I believe there are two things that Americans should do. First, learn your lessons from Europe. Learn your lessons for Europe. Islam already arrived at America, but it's just, don't think it's a long way before you become the second Europe. Islam will conquer before you know it. Be resilient, stand up and fight for your freedom and against Islam. And second, please, maybe the most important thing I ask Americans to do is re-elect President Donald J. Trump.
شو بتقولوا لنا المقاومة؟ هم بيقولوا انكم مقاومين، يعني انتم اطفال وبقتلوكم بيقولوا قدام العالم انكم مقاومين، شو بتقولوا لنا المقاومة الفلسطينية؟
يعني هم حطوا العرب بخطر، يعني هم اللي تحت الانفاق واحنا الضحايا اللي بتروح ناس مدنيين، يعني شباب مدنية واطفال ونساء.
I proclaim the name of the Lord Jesus Christ over the capital of Texas. I stand against Islam and the false prophet Muhammad. Islam will never dominate the United States, and by
happening. It's not enough with the placards, the chants. No, now they're after the children. Yes, children, school children in East London are being taken out of class. They're being given the afternoon off so that they can go and demonstrate pro-Hamas support. Here we are. Just take a look and a listen to this. Disgusting. That's what it is. Disgusting. The reason we had to blur that out was because they were all children. Children being used to chant anti-Semitic songs like that. I mean, it's unbelievable. What in God's name is going on? How have we allowed this? I'll tell you how we've allowed it. Because we've emboldened them by being weak with feeble two-tier policing. I'm telling it as it is. If they hadn't allowed these marches, this wouldn't be going on. Where does this stop? How many more classes of children up and down the country within the next week or so will be given time off? It's unbelievable.
Hello everybody, I'm Brigitte Gabriel. I am holding in my hand the Muslim Brotherhood Plan for North America, written in 5/22/1991. This is their plan, titled مذكرة تفسيرية للهدف الاستراتيجي العام في أمريكا الشمالية. This is about their explanation on how they're going to take over the West, their 100-year plan to infiltrate and dominate the West and establish an Islamic government on earth. This plan was presented as evidence in the Holy Land Foundation trial, the largest terrorism trial ever in the history of the United States, where our government handed down 108 guilty verdicts to Muslim Americans and Muslim organizations in America, raising money in the United States and sending it overseas to support terrorist activity overseas. And I'm going to read you a paragraph about their intention in the United States and how they describe their work. Number 4 of the paragraph is titled Understanding the Role of the Muslim Brother in North America. And it says, the process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan, which is the Arabic word for brothers, must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and Allah's religion is made victorious over all other religion. As you can see, they don't mince words. They don't beat around the bush. They tell you exactly what they want to do. They go in detail in this booklet talking about how they are going to implement their plan and the organizations that they had set up in the United States in order for them to advance their plan in America. And here are the names of some of the organizations. They give the names of 29 organizations set up in America to do that. So I'm going to read you some of the names. ISNA, the Islamic Society of North America. If the name sounds familiar, it's because ISNA used to be advisors to President Obama about Middle East policy. So now you understand where signing the nuclear deal with Iran came from and why Obama was all over himself trying to appeal to the Iranian regime, even sending them pallets of cash in the middle of the night on an airplane, landing in an airport in the middle of the night, millions and billions of our tax dollars. Number 2 on the list is the MSA, the Muslim Student Association. The Muslim Student Association has chapters all over American universities. So today when you are watching all these demonstrators on our American universities screaming death to the Jews, we hate the Jews, from the river to the sea, Gaza will be free, or Palestine will be free, now you understand where that is coming from. Number 8 on the list is the North American Islamic Trust. The North American Islamic Trust owns 90% of mosques in the United States. Number 22 on the list is IAP, Islamic Association for Palestine, which later became CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Now, when you read all this stuff, you think to yourself, how can this happen? Does our government know about this stuff? I have been talking about these things for over 15 years. This is detailed in my book, They Must Be Stopped, which came out in 2008, detailing this plan. When I used to talk about these things, I was accused of being an Islamophobe. People called me a hater. Nobody wanted to listen. When I was warning about the Muslim student associations on college campuses and the money coming from the Middle East funding a social study department, a political science department, and appointing professors who are anti-America and anti-Israel to teach that Israel is evil, America is bad, and the Islamic world is the underdog, and the Palestinians are the oppressed, nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wanted to pay attention. So today when you see all these people organized on the streets in the United States, hating Israel, hating the Jewish people, hating America, tearing down American flags and the pro-Palestinian demonstrations in New York City.
Alaykum as-salam, and inshallah Allah will kill you all infidels.
Thank you so much for joining us. Love the headpiece, the all oppression chic, very drip.
Mr. Fatwa, how are you? Are you safe?
Oh yes, I'm safe. I'm in a tunnel under the Gaza hospital. Above me, I have Allah and 2 million civilians protecting me.
Community is so important these days.
Do you need like humanitarian aid? Food, fuel, medicine?
It's okay, I have everything. I'm only hungry for rockets.
As long as it's organic.
Yeah.
I wish I just could be there with you.
You can come to Gaza anytime and we will throw you from the roof, you homosexual dirt.
Do you hear? Bro, want to throw me a rooftop party.
They are so welcoming and inclusive.
So shukran. And you are also very welcome to come here to America.
We will come. First we finish with Israel. And America is next.
Great! So, I guess we'll see you soon.
Yes, it would be a blast.
Can't wait. It will be so multicultural.
Ya Allah, you are so stupid.
Thank you so much, Abu. We love you.
I won't even bother killing you. It's a waste of bullets.
Good vibes only.
It's better you just kill yourself.
Okay, bye.
Die.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be Jews free. Yeah, that sounds better.
It is better.
Islam has been responsible for the butchering and murder of people, innocent people, from the time of Prophet Muhammad, from the time of the Khulafa. We cannot deny this.
The Gaza Strip wants a ceasefire. Let me explain to you why. In 2005, Israel left Gaza and transferred the control to the Palestinian Authority. In 2006, the Hamas movement comes to power and the people of the Palestinian Authority. In the same year, Hamas infiltrates Israel and kidnaps the soldier Gilad Shalit. All this is happening when the southern villages are under rocket fire on a daily basis. After a long period of silence in 2008, Israel started Operation Oferet Yetzuka in order to stop the rockets. After several days of fighting, Israel ceases fire. Hamas accepts a ceasefire. Hamas continues to launch rockets. And Israel showed restraint. In 2012, Israel embarks another operation, Amud Anan, with the aim of severely damaging Hamas and ending the rocket fire. Finally, a ceasefire agreement was signed between Israel and Hamas, coordinated by Egypt. As part of the agreement, Hamas pledged to stop all attacks on Israeli territory from the Gaza Strip. Hamas accepts a ceasefire. Hamas continues to launch rockets. And Israel showed restraint. In 2014, Hamas kidnapped 3 Jewish boys. In response to this and to the unceasing rocket fire, Israel embarks on Operation Tzuk Eitan with the aim of ending the rocket fire once and for all. But again, after several days of fighting, Israel agreed to a ceasefire on the condition that Hamas stop firing rockets. Hamas accepts a ceasefire. Hamas continues to launch rockets. And Israel showed restraint. In the entire period that comes after Tzuk Eitan operation, Hamas continues to launch rockets, incendiary balloons, provocations at the fence, and continued construction of a network of tunnels. In October of 2023, Hamas launches a huge attack on Israeli territory. 1,400 Israelis are during the attack. Do you understand the pattern? They hurt Israel, and then ask for a ceasefire. Hamas was in a ceasefire. Hamas attacked Israel. Israel has finished showing restraint.
He's when he's in jail or he's on his way to jail. That's a good Muslim. What? They're gonna take us to prison. What? They're gonna take our nationality. They can take our nationality. We don't want it. Here, they can take it. What is this? What is it? Here, they want this here. Here. Here, they can take it from us. We don't need it.
We're never gonna stop. Never. Even in prison, we're gonna do our da'wah.
If I breathe, I will continue.
We will go through this stage. We will be boycotted, we will be arrested, we will be raided. But eventually the victory is with Allah. So it could be in this life, it could be in the hereafter. But ultimately, we will attain the victory and Allah will make sure His deen prevails on the earth.
What can my enemies do to me? If they lock me up, I have Jannah, paradise in my heart. If they kill me, I become shaheed, inshallah.
Allahumma ahfadna wa ahfad akhuna Abu Imran. Allahumma ahfad.
If you have some Hamas supporters in the UK, my suggestion is the UK does not either want or need them. We have senior members of Hamas living in the UK, former members of the senior military leadership of Hamas living in the UK. This is the UK's shame. It isn't for the British government or any other government to tell the Israeli government how they should respond to the massacre of their civilians. But I do think it's important to just bear in mind that we can, in countries like Britain, or should, keep our own house in order. I see no reason why Hamas's backers should live in the UK, and I don't see any reason why their supporters should live in the UK. After Jews have been massacred for being Jews by Hamas in this ISIS-like fashion, treat the people who support that as we would the supporters of ISIS. And if you can't remove their citizenship and expel them from the UK, at least prosecute them and imprison them under the 2006 Terrorism Act for the glorification of terror. Look at what happened outside the Israeli embassy in London the other night. Crowds of hundreds of people. And again, yes, there is a blurry line here because a lot of people hide behind the idea that they're supporters of the Palestinian people when in fact they're just haters of the Jewish people. But look at the people who turned out the other night before Israel had done anything in terms of retaliation against Hamas. Hundreds and hundreds of people, notably young people, who were outside the Israeli embassy, which had to be boarded up, and they were screaming their hatred of Israel. Well, what were they doing? Were they preemptively opposing an Israeli backlash? No, of course not. They were rejoicing in the massacre of Israeli citizens. And as I say in the piece, this has erupted all across Britain. We have people in Brighton talking about how beautiful the massacre of Jews is in Israel and being applauded by crowds. We see in other countries, other democracies, the same way in which people have used our system and taken rights they would never give us in return. What about the people in Sydney outside the Sydney Opera House, again, after the massacres, before any retaliation, chanting "Gas the Jews" in Sydney? Israel has its problems, but we in the Western democracies have ours. And our main one is that we have people in our countries who celebrate terror. And I say, get them all out.
It is the current beginning of the death. It's already happening. There are areas in France where Christians cannot walk freely. President Macron has come out saying that the Islamist movements want to secede from France. This is a leader of a country telling you that he has lost control. He's admitting finally that he has lost control. If Christians don't wake up, Christian leaders don't wake up, then we Muslims who fled from extremists can't help you anymore. We tried warning you.
I will cancel the student visas of Hamas and sympathizers on college campuses. The college campuses are being taken over. And all of the resident aliens who joined in the pro-jihadist protest this month, nobody's ever seen anything like it. Come 2025, we will find you and we will deport you. We will deport you.
I don't want even to think about a Palestinian state. I don't care for a Palestinian state. We have 22 Arab states and all of them are garbage. I don't want another Arab state in that region. It's enough. They have all the human resources. They have everything. Human resources, natural resources, and they are behind. They found a corpse. They kidnapped a corpse. They did not only kidnap living beings, they kidnapped corpse to bargain for money and prisoner exchange. This is not even terrorists. This is dark age savages, unheard of reality that we are witnessing in the 21st century. And people in the free world, we are failing to condemn them. We are failing to condemn this pro-Palestine. Shame on you, pro-Palestine movement. I don't need validation from nobody, even 7 billion clowns out there, say you're wrong.
Let me tell you exactly what happens, and I get the same story from village after village and talking to survivors for the last 10 years. I hear the same story every time. Muslims came into our community 20, 30 years ago. We were friends with them. Our kids grew up together. We commerced together. We ate together. We lived together. And then one day, when the attacks happened, those neighbors, those friends that they had, were not in town that day. They happened to not show up. And then come the machetes and the guns, and everything they have is destroyed, and many people are murdered. And then when it's all said and done and clear, guess what? Those Muslim neighbors come back and they take their neighbor's property. They weren't necessarily the ones that committed the atrocity, but when they come back to town, they live just like normal. It's just they don't have Christian neighbors anymore. And the nominal Muslims will lay cover for the violent Muslims. They don't speak out against the atrocities.
Even as Americans dealing with the fact that we know that this is their strategy.
If we actually followed our own immigration laws, and we actually followed our own law in general, we aren't supposed to allow people in that want to destroy the United States. Okay? I mean, we're not. We're not. By law, we are not supposed to allow people in that do not want to adhere to the Constitution of the United States. We don't allow people in that want to destroy our country. Yet, I'll go point back to an old film I did, Enemies Within 2016, going after senators and congressmen. We had video of a Muslim representative talking about destroying our nation. And he had no repercussions for it.
Hardline Muslims trying to enforce Sharia law in London. From abstention to amputation. It's been hearing how they want to instill their tough code on the capital.
So we are here to tell you that Islam and the Sharia is unstoppable in Europe.
Stoning for adultery, cutting off hands for stealing, death for renouncing Islam. This group of men is trying to enforce Sharia law in the UK. They've started a campaign to make certain areas of London and other cities Islamic law-controlled zones, starting with Walthamstow, East London.
Muslims will be commanding good and forbidding evil, presenting Islam as an alternative to the Muslim and the non-Muslim community. Ultimately, we believe that Muslims can live together, trade according to the Sharia, resolve their problems according to the Sharia, and even police themselves to a large extent. Hopefully one day to have Islamic Emirates, which which will have authority locally, security locally, and even provide welfare locally.
Chowdhury and his friends are fly-posting parts of London with large Muslim populations. They want to ban drinking, gambling and playing music. And they say they've got bands of young men ready to patrol and enforce Sharia law by any means.
Now, that enforcement will not initially be on the level of inviting and forbidding verbally. But if someone has the capability to forbid what in essentially is something evil, like pornography or prostitution, he should do so.
And by that you mean physically?
Of course, I believe that there are prostitutes that are near the mosque. They should be run out of the area.
These Muslims say British society is broken, riddled with drugs, crime and prostitution. Because of that, they firmly believe members of the communities they're targeting will welcome Sharia law. But the word on the street about the campaign tells a different story.
It comes down to, if you don't like the laws of the place you live, find somewhere where you do appreciate the laws, and all of these things are completely legal in this country.
This is not India or Pakistan, this is England. We've got our own laws. So people haven't got a right to come in here and bring their laws in here.
Well, I think that would cause nothing but trouble.
Councillor Martin Esom agrees, saying this could destroy community cohesion.
We've got squads going around the borough taking down the posters as soon as they put up, because we do not want these posters around our borough. They do not represent the views of our borough, and they have no place in Waltham Forest.
Citizen equality campaigners say the Sharia supporters shouldn't be considered a religious movement, but a far-right political organisation with a poster campaign designed to divide and conquer communities.
The danger lies in dividing people, dividing communities, creating mistrust, and particularly from non-Muslims towards moderate Muslims. I think this is part of their aim, is to create mistrust. So they can then turn to moderate Muslims and say, look, everyone hates you, we're your friend, turn to us. And it's a very, very dangerous thing, and it's a political tactic to increase their own power.
Undeterred by opposition, Chowdhury and his group plan what they see as the beginning of an Islamic emirate, not just in the UK, but all over Europe. Police have mobilised to take these posters down as fast as they appear, but Chowdhury and his group say they formed bands of vigilante enforcers to make sure Sharia is adhered to, verbally or physically. And in other parts of London, women have already been harassed for not covering their heads. If these Muslims ever get their way, I won't be able to dress like this on the streets of Walthamstow or many other parts of London, Brussels, Rome and Paris.
If we don't make radical changes right now, we are going to be witnessing the end of Europe, the death of Europe. Not just because of generic multiculturalism and the rise of leftist liberalism, but also specifically Islamism, because they are quite honest about it. They are publicly telling us what they want to do to us. Yes, the rise of Sharia. This is another video I'm going to show you where one of these preachers in Britannia saying that not only we're going to impose Sharia on you, but because you want it. They are telling us what we want, what we need. Now, you're going to see this video. This ideology, this political ideology has been going on for centuries. It's sold to us as a faith. Is essentially, that's what we call it in Islamic socialism. It's because it's very close to socialism and communism. It's the same thing. It's about coercion, it's about centralization of powers, it's about saying, hey, we are talking in a compassionate way, we want to help you, we want to save you from yourselves. Just watch this, and then I'm going to give you my reaction.
Allah is the best of planners. Islam, we want Sharia in the UK, we want Sharia for everybody. Do you even know what Sharia means? Huh? Do you even know what Sharia means? Yeah? You need Sharia. UK is dying for Sharia. You are making your elderly die at home alone. You flipping selfish individuals. You go on holidays and put them in care homes while they are dying. They are dying. They looked after you and changed your nappies and looked after you when you was a baby. And you reach this age of materialism and the Western propaganda has consumed you so much that you are...
Alright, a couple of issues with this. Alright, let's start. So, first things first. As I said, that's why it's very close to Marxism, because it tells you the emotions. Hey, there's a problem here. We will fix that problem. They point to the problems, but the solution is also crazy. Secondly, obviously there are issues in the West, and we know that. But the way he makes it sound like is like every single one of us, like you guys watching this and me, are in that category of kind of complacent, kind of without caring about our families and all that. Yes, there's a lot of people like that. And it needs to be fixed, but the solution is not really what he's saying. Thirdly, despite having problems in the West, including the rise of materialism and consumerism and everything else that we know, degeneracy, yeah, fine. The problems that he was talking about, including the elderly and the in poverty, the homelessness, which we also have, compare it to the Islamic world. Compare it to any point in time when we had a state using Sharia, even now and the past. Compare our problems to there. The elderly, the pensioners, people in poverty. Which societies, generally speaking, in comparison, we were looking after the vulnerable better? Here, in the West, or there, in the barbaric Arabic Islamic world? That's the thing. So they use propaganda, they use your emotions, because you're thinking about, yes, I do have that niece, or I do have that neighbor who is so degenerate now. Oh my God, the young people are lost, and I see the problem with a lack of respect for the elderly. They use that to trigger you and say, see, I'm pointing out a problem, and then paint an image, you thinking everybody is now like that, and then they say, I have a solution for you. Submit to Muhammad.